Hello, listeners, and welcome to Season 8, Episode 19, for a grand total of Episode 207 of the Otafest podcast. Welcome back. I'm Dio, and I'm here with Angelo.
Hello.
Jay.
Ni hao.
Nancy.
Heyo.
Yeah, we're back. It's been a little bit, but we're right in time. A whole other week, and we're just in time for the Lunar New Year. But before we get started, we have some news and announcements.
Hey lovers, your friendly neighborhood Seth here, interrupting with a very special announcement. We are so pleased to announce our 25th anniversary keynote event, the Silver Stars Masquerade Ball. Dance the evening away, share some delightful anecdotes of 25 years worth of shenanigans, and fill up a time capsule with our dearest wishes for the future to be opened at Otafest's 50th anniversary. Not sure how to ballroom dance? No worries. We'll have volunteers on hand to teach you the basics. Dress code is cosplay or semi-formal, whatever that means to you. Being a masquerade, masks are encouraged. The more grandiose and fancier, the better. We'll have prizes for best dressed and most marvelous mask, among others. And now, back to the podcast crew, and thanks for listening.
Otafest Sketch Drive applications are now open from January 16th to February 26th. Come be a part of this beloved little corner of the festival. Get your application in today. And get your AMV contest submissions in for prizes, for glory, for a rip-roaring good time.
Speaking of which, we're halfway through our panelist application period. Deadline is February 5th. Share a topic you are passionate about with your community. As always, panelists with one accepted panel are entitled to a 50% discounted weekend pass to Otafest for themselves and an assistant. 2 accepted panels means the panelist and the assistant are entitled to a free weekend pass. Find additional information via otafest.com.
Wow! We actually have announcements. That
means the con is coming. Ah!
It means the deadline is ticking. So
We back.
if you're a cosplayer, you are on a deadline now.
What? They've been on a deadline since November. I
Indeed.
distinctly remember Angelo reminding everyone that it's like, this is your announcement that you have 5 months.
Guess what, everyone?
Yeah.
That means this is now your announcement that you have 4 months.
Yes, it is 4 months now.
This is
Already.
my drill. This is your 4-month warning to get your cosplay done. So if you're ordering anything from overseas or preparing anything special that's going to need time for shipping or preparation, you might want to get it in sooner or later. Like you're coming up on time, where if you're anticipating mail delays, you might want to start ordering now to get those pads in.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is
Yeah.
time.
I need to finish I have my cosplays in my closet. They're ready to go, but I have a couple of accessories that I need to pick up and prepare before the event. So I am also under the same 4-month deadline of, these things shouldn't take too long, but I haven't done them yet. So I need to do them.
And always remember, if you are a fantastic cosplayer, if you are the relaxed kind of cosplayer, this really means that you have a 3-month deadline going in. You want some time to relax, to get all your plans in order for Otafest.
Yeah, to kick your feet up a little bit. And if you're a cosplay con cruncher, this is your
If you're
3
a
months and one.
cosplay
This
con
is your
cruncher.
your 3.5 month warning that your crunch under the desk up all night season starts in about 3.5 months.
Exactly. You can just relax for 3.5 months.
Yeah.
You've got a whole week. There's a whole week of time before Otafest for you to just not sleep at all.
You have, let's be clear here, you have 3 months until you need to finalize what you're cosplaying as.
And how you're going to get it done in the remaining 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, start considering it in about 3 months.
Have I ever
exactly. expressed
expressed how grateful I am to myself that I'm not a cosplayer based on your deadlines? I can't. Okay, so
Yeah. No,
we
fair.
have staff members that cosplay, and Dio is one of them. And I don't know how you can do these things while planning, like pre-planning the con and pre-planning and assembling your cosplay. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You work a 40-hour a week job just like I do.
Yep.
You have to do pull the bits and pieces of Otafest together. You have to pull the
Yep.
bits and pieces of your cosplay together. You
Yep.
stream. Like, what are you
Yep.
doing?
Not sleeping. That's what I'm doing a lot of.
Jay, do you get a nice 8 hours of sleep a night?
I probably sleep more than normal. Yeah, I try to
See,
get
you
some
get
good
a-
See,
sleep.
Wow.
cosplayers don't.
You get a nice
Wow.
healthy amount of sleep. See, some of you guys have 24 hours in a day. I have 30 hours in a day.
That's not quite how that works.
That is
Who-
exactly how it works. I just
Who
have
gave
extra.
Dio the time travel
I have
machine?
the time travel machine.
She deserves it.
where-
She needs it.
exactly.
Yeah, clearly.
I make the additional hours I make the extra 6 hours in the day.
My God.
Somehow.
How do you do?
That's my superpower.
How is your average hours of sleep a night, like throughout a year?
Oh, I actually do get a decent, like, I tend to do 6 to 7 hours. I wish I could do, like, more than that. Like, for me, the perfect sleep is somewhere in that, like, 7.5 to, like, 9 range, it seems like. But I function pretty well on, like, 6.5 to 7. So I would say I probably hit that, like, on average, it probably averages out to about 7.
I
Because, like,
used to
on the
get
weekends, I get to
5.
sleep in.
I used to get 5, and I was perfectly fine.
I need to point this out now because I want to make this very clear. Everyone's bodies do require different amounts of
Different
sleep.
amounts
That's the
of
number
sleep.
one
That
thing.
is true.
But
totally.
do not, and I do mean this, do not make it a brag fest about how little you are sleeping.
Yes.
Like do not say do not. I'm gonna say don't be proud of being unhealthy. That's what I mean.
Yes, exactly.
Because I
Get
used to
the
do that.
right amount of-
Everyone used to do that.
Yes,
in
but
school
it's important
especially.
to get the right amount of sleep for your body. Like I
Yes.
was definitely, especially when I was in early university, I was definitely the person who would do 4 or 5 hours a night, and it was not right for me, like at all. It was not healthy. It was not good. I have definitely also had periods in life where I've slept for 9 or 10 hours and it's a little bit too much sleep. Like, does anybody else get that feeling where, like, when
Or
you
you're
oversleep,
overtired.
you feel
Yes.
gross when you wake up,
Yeah.
like you don't feel rested. So I quickly
Yeah.
learned that, like, trying to, like, do a 10-hour sleep is like, no, this, I feel worse when I wake up. But
Absolutely.
when you hit that nice symbiosis, which for me seems to be around that, like, 7, maybe 7.5 hours, that's like, I wake up, I'm waking up without, like, needing an alarm to, like, go bah, 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 and yell at me, but I'm also waking up rested and ready for the day, which is good. But it varies for everyone. But
Be
I'm
healthy.
very jealous
That's
of
all I ask.
you people who, I'm both jealous of the healthy people who are healthy on 10 hours of sleep, and I'm jealous of the healthy people who are healthy on 5 hours of sleep.
More than
Yeah.
anything, I just don't want to wake up in the morning. Like
Yeah,
when I say in the
that's
morning,
me
I mean
too.
I don't want to make up, but anywhere between 3 in the morning, which is like really early. But some people do
Yeah.
have to wake up at 3 to like 8, 3 to 8. That 5 hour span, I'm
Yes,
just
it's
not
like
happy to be awake
to
at that
be
time. I just
awake.
don't really care.
Yeah,
That's
like
hilarious.
my ideal wake up time, honestly, like if I have control of the universe, is like 9 a.m. Because that's the point where it's like, or
10
like
o'clock for me.
8:30, right? Like that's the point where it's like I'm not waking up. Because okay, so the worst part about waking up like too early, like if you wake up at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock, like shout out to those who do, is like everything it's too quiet. It's like uncomfortably quiet because everyone else is asleep. But I don't like waking up at like 10:30, 11 because so much of the day is gone. Like so many people are awake.
Agree.
And
10
the
o'clock
day
is my
like,
sweet
buzzing
spot.
away. Yeah,
10
I think
o'clock.
for me,
Agree.
like 9 o'clock is like my perfect sweet spot of like, it's not so early that it's dead quiet and there's nothing happening. And it's not so late that I feel like I've missed a chunk of the day. Because, like, if you wake up, I don't know, if you wake up, like, for me, if I wake up at 11 a.m., and then if I go to bed at the same time every night around 11 p.m., it means my day is cut down to, like, 12 hours. Versus, like,
Same.
if I wake up at, like, 9 or even 8, then I'm getting that extra, like, 3 hours in my day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
I know what you mean. There was a period in time.
Wake up at like 2 p.m. and then you have to go to bed.
There was a period in time when I was single and had all the time in the world, and I slept like 4 to 5 hours a night, and I felt great.
Yeah.
I would be like cleaning first thing in the morning, vacuum the whole house,
Wow.
I mean,
make breakfast.
quality is the big part too. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
quality
rather.
sleep is most
I've had
important.
like quote unquote 8 hours of sleep where I've woken up like
And you're
5
just
times.
Like,
Versus like 4 hours of sleep where I'm dead asleep and I wake up, I'm like, this is good. Like, this is not like
This was
my
enough.
this is not the most, but this is enough.
the
and I
right
didn't wake
amount.
up. Yeah.
yeah, I would say that's the worst part. The worst part is waking up and having to go back to sleep. Like, I know that your body like naturally goes through like those cycles, or like your really deepest sleep, your most restful sleep is like your REM sleep, but then you have like those sort of like light sleeping stages that you kind of go between them. But the worst is when you leave that light sleeping stage and then you're awake and you're just like, no, I want to go back to bed, and your body's like, nope, we're just awake now, and it's
That was
2:30 a.m.
Saturday morning.
Pain.
That was me. I woke up at like
pain.
5:30. I was like, what is this bullshit? Why are my eyes open? Who allowed this to happen? I want to speak to their manager. I'm gonna get back to sleep right now. And then I'm wide awake until 6:30, and I'm just like, well, I guess the day's starting now.
You're like,
Dio
it's too late
tweeted
to
about-
try any
Rough.
harder.
Dio tweeted about Angelo's sleep yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
I saw that.
gosh. Sleep talking is amazing. So
I
don't
saw
know-
that despite Twitter's broken timeline.
So I don't know if I sleep talk, but Angelo does on occasion. It's very
I'm sorry, Angelo, I've
infrequent.
outed you. I started
But, like,
this.
You know,
Outed.
Angelo had fallen asleep, and I tend to I have a tougher time falling asleep. So I will sit in my, I was reading a book. I tend to sit and I'll just read a book until I feel sleepy, and then I'll fall asleep. And so Angelo's calmly, lightly snoring next to me, and then he kind of rolls away from me, and he just exclaims, "Dang." And I'm like,
Angelo, can you give us a replay? Can you give us a voice
No, because
voice
I barely
replay?
I remember Dio being like, what's wrong? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but I'm just
What do
saying,
you
can
mean,
you
what's
say
wrong?
the word for me?
dang.
and so I was
Just
just
light
like,
snoring. Dang.
So I was just like, huh? And Angelo's very tired, so he goes back, huh? And I'm like, is everything okay? And he's like, what? Everything's fine. Then he goes back to sleep, and I'm like, did you
Dang.
have a nightmare? And he's just like, no. And then goes back to sleep.
Okay.
I was sitting there
I
just
had-
so confused. I was like, what just happened?
I had a really similar moment where, apparently in the middle of the night, I rolled over and I said the words very clearly. Unfortunately, I need to tell you something.
That would be
I proceeded
terrifying.
to fall asleep again.
That'd be terrifying as your partner, because they're like, oh, are they hiding something from me that they're not telling me? And then I'm not that person where I think I would want to wake you up and be like whatever, but there's a component there where you're like,
You'd
is
be
this
like,
about
what?
us?
You're like, what
No.
does this mean?
Yeah.
And the worst thing was is that I fell asleep immediately after saying that. And so when I was asked what do you mean? And I woke up and I was like, huh? What are you talking about?
I didn't say that.
Our sleep minds betray our
Really do.
conscious minds.
Well,
Like, I
thankfully it wasn't a really weird dream or anything like that, but I literally don't remember saying that. I don't remember
good.
having a dream where I would need to say that to someone. I just don't remember.
Are
And then it hit me. It was in a script I was reading the day before.
Oh, your subconscious
Wink.
was practicing for the
I was
Sure.
practicing for an audition.
in your
And
subconscious.
I was like, oh,
That
so sorry.
reminds me of something. So clearly, you are so productive that even in your sleep, you are working.
I am
Yeah.
working. I really should
This
just
happened.
have recordings of myself in sleep so that I can just submit these things for my demo reels.
This
sure.
happened to Dio a couple weeks ago where she was having a
Yeah.
problem at work. She couldn't figure something out. And then it came to her in a dream.
It really did. So it was.
I saw that you tweeted about that too.
Yes, I did. So I was working on a code problem at work. And I'd been working on this problem for like a couple of I want to say like maybe like 3 weeks. And I hadn't really, just off the side of my desk, and I hadn't really figured it out. And I'd, roped in some of my teammates to think about it and do some brainstorming, and we hadn't really come up with anything. And so we were going to loop in a vendor to, in fact, I was in the process of looping in a vendor to come help with the problem. And I just remember dreaming one night. I was having a dream, and I dreamt that I had written the code to fix the problem. And I woke up, and I was like, I better write this down. And so I picked up my phone, I opened my Google Notes, and I typed down this like pseudo code in the middle. It's like 2 a.m. I jot down this pseudo code, and I go back to sleep. And I wake up the next day. It's a Tuesday morning. I go into the office, and I say, okay, I'm just gonna try this and like see what happens. And so I write it down. I write the code, and I hit compile and run, and it just works.
Yep.
No compilation errors.
She's
no
built
runtime
different,
errors.
folks.
It just works.
She
And
sees
I'm
the
like,
code.
That
I'm
has
like, there's-
happened to me.
There's no way. And
No,
then, and I was
no.
supposed to, and so it was really funny because I was supposed to contact the vendor that day to like confirm a day like that week. Like I was supposed to meet them that afternoon, and I was like, I don't need to meet you guys anymore.
I don't need
figured
you.
it out.
My subconscious mind is better.
My subconscious mind is doing overtime and figured out the answer.
And so don't you feel cheated by that? It's like you wanted to sleep. You could have done anything while you were sleeping.
And you chose
but
to
your
work.
brain was working.
And my brain was doing work. Like, I'm like, maybe I need to pay, I'm like, maybe, so I don't need overtime pay for that, but maybe sleeping subconscious me needs overtime for that. Like, maybe I should give subconscious me some extra sleep or something.
No,
Like a
because
new
that would just
or
mean
like
more work.
a new fluffy pillow, or I don't know, some melatonin gummies or something. Like, why are you
Jeez.
working?
I
This-
explicitly say, don't you feel cheated by this? Because this has happened to me once.
Yeah.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the dumbest way possible. It was back when I was in high school, and at the time I was playing a lot of Mega Man Battle Network. What a wonderful game!
It's a good game.
And now I do not dream very often, but there was one time. It has been like 20 years, and I still vividly remember dreaming about playing this fucking Game Boy game. And I didn't even accomplish anything. It wasn't like completing some goal in the game that I dreamed of. Woke up and was like, oh, I didn't actually do that. I only No. I accomplished nothing even in the fucking dream. I woke up and I was like, what? I actually remember this dream for once. What the shit? It could have been anything. I could have dreamed anything and I would have actually remembered it for once. Instead, I've dreamed of playing this video game. What the fuck is
It's
wrong
a good
with me?
game.
back when StarCraft 1 was all the rage, I didn't understand resource management as like little Nancy. And so I played like the first part of the story campaign and got to a certain point where it was just like you hit a difficulty wall, and I was really frustrated by it. So what did I do? I went to bed that night really frustrated by this game, also doing my homework, but being frustrated by this game. And then I dream about playing StarCraft and dying and dying and dying. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. And then I get past the level. Like, it's like my brain does work for me when I fall asleep.
Yeah.
I have also like done. I don't have the specific example anymore. I think it was related to Otafest though, where I was like figuring out some sort of logistic thing for an Otafest event, and my brain figured it out in my sleep. I wish I could remember what it was, but I do dream like every night pretty much. So it's just filed in like the long lists of Otafest. That being said, I actually did dream about Otafest last night. Now, amongst Otafest staff members, we have things that we call Otafest nightmares. I haven't really had too many Otafest nightmares, but the Otafest nightmare is like, obviously, it's like school dreams or work dreams where you're like, you're placed in Otafest, and then like none of the rooms have like schedules or something. Like it's something crazy like that usually.
Oh, the banners are wrong. I have no idea where I'm taking my guest.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that I don't
landed in Hawaii for some reason.
I don't really have like nightmares proper ever in general. So I do tend to remember nightmares. This last one, just because it was super fresh, happened last night. I don't know if it was a nightmare specifically, but I do know that for some reason we moved Otafest to Okotoks. And the logistics of that, because
oh my god,
weird. I think it was slightly like a nightmare because I know Okotoks fairly well. I'd gone up, like I have family in Okotoks, so like I visit before, but I don't know anything about venues in Okotoks. So like, I think part of the nightmare scenario was that we didn't really know. Yeah, we didn't really know where we were holding Otafest, but we had like trucks full of our stuff and storage stuff. All our resources were all there, but like nothing was being put together very well. And I was like, why are we here? But there's clearly a reason.
Oh my gosh! This entire conversation has also made me realize that if Twitter does truly implode, I will lose track of a lot of my like ability to keep track of Dio and Angelo's lives.
Yeah,
it's true.
All of our shenanigans are cataloged in nice bite-sized microblog format.
Yeah,
exactly.
Nancy and I are both on, but we don't tweet nearly as much as you do.
Just consume.
We read, yeah.
It's a good way for me to keep in touch with people, not necessarily for people to keep in touch with me.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're like, I'm here to passively observe. I'm buying a ticket to the movie theater, but I'm not willing to play a role in the production.
Here, I saw your thing. Accept my support.
Indeed. I'm like, maybe I need to spin up my own Mastodon instance just for my own life yelling.
Personal
Maybe.
word vomit.
Yeah.
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 Anyways,
As Dio's head goes off in the distance.
I'm like,
Yep.
ooh, a new shiny new thing for a new shiny new project.
speaking of shiny new things, happy
It's a shiny new
Lunar
year.
New Year.
Yeah!
Yay!
It's the year of the rabbit or the year of
black
the cat
rabbit.
if you're Vietnamese.
Oh,
I
I
always
didn't know
thought that was interesting because
Yes.
the cat was like specifically kept out of the zodiac by way of various
Yes.
stories, depending on what version you listen to.
Yeah,
But I think it's
exactly.
interesting that it is part of the zodiac in Vietnamese
Culture.
zodiac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a part of the Vietnamese zodiac. And so this year for them, it's the year of the cat. And so if you go into any sort of generic East Asian sort of like grocery store or supermarket, you'll see like tons of year of the rabbit themed stuff. But if you go into a Vietnamese one right now, you'll see lots of cats, especially the lucky cats.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is not really related, but it is. Otafest, I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but our charity is Meow Foundation,
Yes.
which is like a cat specific
Rescue and charity.
Exactly. And we've partnered up with them this year. And yesterday we went to tour the facility because we wanted to see, they invited us over and we wanted to see what they were all about. And they're very cool. Very great people doing lots of great work for strays, ferals, and rescue cats, and finding them new forever homes.
Yeah.
So, if I just violated an NDA, so be it. No, I think it's fine.
But yeah, very on brand, given that it is
It
mostly
is.
Year of the Rabbit, but also Year of the Cat, depending
Indeed.
on your culture, which is really
Indeed.
Rabbits, cats, they both jump. They have
Fluffy,
ears.
cute.
They're animals.
They're cute.
adorable.
Yep, very.
The teeth are different, but they both have teeth. That's got to count for something.
Yeah.
They have
so
eyes.
Jay and Nancy are both East Asian. Do you have any family traditions or things that you got to enjoy to celebrate the Lunar New Year this year?
Jay, do you want to go first?
Sure. I haven't done a whole lot yet because I'm seeing my family tomorrow. But one of our good Otafest friends, she made mooncakes. She made her own mooncakes.
yeah.
They're
Yummy.
Yeah.
lotus seed cakes, which are actually my preferred one.
Oh, that
And
sounds
they're
good.
super tasty. She did a great job. If you guys want them, just ask for them in the Otafest channel because
And we'll get some.
she made over 100.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm waiting for mine.
But a
I'm
lot
waiting
of-
for mine.
Yeah, a lot of us
wow.
have
Excited.
have gotten them and everything like that. But like she still probably has at least like 50, I think.
Wow.
So
Yummy.
Yeah.
Yummy. Lotus is
I'm
such a
excited.
yummy, like nice, light flavor too. Those are going to be delicious.
yeah. And then like I said, we're gonna go for dim sum.
Yeah. Dim sum.
That'll be super tasty, of course. Seeing some family members, just hanging out, getting fat. Love
Yep,
it.
getting fat.
Yep.
Sounds right. So for my family is South Chinese. So in their culture, and because China has tons and tons of subcultures, in their culture specifically, for the last day of the old year, you close it out by cleaning everything, just tidying everything up, setting it up for the new year. Very much with the mentality that it's like, there's a new year coming. It's full of potential. Start it off on the right foot.
Yeah.
But also because there's a tradition of not doing any cleaning on New Year's Day. Because if you do clean on New Year's Day, it means you're sweeping away all of your good luck. So you get all your cleaning done out of the way the day before. And then on New Year's, you just get to
accumulate all your good
traditionally
luck.
we'd be traditionally we'd be going and visiting family and spending all that time focusing on the engagement aspect with each other. So,
Yeah.
you don't want to be caught cleaning stuff as well on top of all of that. So there's like a bit of a practical component to it as well as a superstition. So for the last day of the old year, we get together with my family. Mom makes exactly 9 dishes for dinner. Because 9 is a homonym with long, so longevity, long life.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Every dish that mom makes has a pun associated with it to welcome the new year.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing about Chinese jokes. Almost
Yeah.
all the good Chinese jokes are puns, and a lot of our derived traditions have puns associated with them. Where
That's so cool.
some might say that's terrible.
And yet, I hate English puns with a burning passion, but I have caught myself making them sometimes, and now I have no idea where my feelings sit on puns anymore.
Right?
I love puns, even if they sometimes make me angry. Even if they make me groan,
They're supposed to make
being
you
like,
angry.
"Ooh."
You're like, good one.
Yeah.
If that's what I'm saying, inside I love them.
I will say, and this is kind of an aside, as someone who's learning Japanese, in particular, one of the things I'm working on is picking up kanji, which kanji is like the
most
Japanese
difficult
character
part.
set that, well, it's difficult, but that's also because it's coming from the Chinese character set, which is historically very difficult to learn because there's lots of characters. And so with one thing that I've learned as I'm studying kanji is just how many different readings there are, because you have the Japanese reading, which is sometimes used, but you also have the Chinese reading, the original Chinese reading of the Chinese characters, which
Indeed.
also have they can have multiple readings. Usually it's
Yep.
1 or 2, but oftentimes it's
No, it's
far
based
more
on
than
context.
just 2. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very context dependent. And so I think understanding why like the kanji work in different contexts makes me appreciate Chinese puns more, because you can see how the different kanji work in different contexts. So I will say, I think Chinese puns are really sneaky because they can both be a pun on how something is said, but also on how something is written.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of
It's true. It's true. So puns, lots of traditions that are kind of built around things that are punnation. And then today, the day that we're recording, is the first day of the new year. So today is the day where historically you would traditionally go around, visit your family, bring gifts.
Not work.
Have
not
tea.
yep.
Don't do work.
Mm-hmm.
Work, cleaning, anything like that. And then tomorrow, we call it opening the new year. So you would start the new year on the second day, and you'd have dinner with your family, and there'd be like red pockets everywhere, da-da-da-da-da. Very, very loud celebratory stuff. Today, there's a specific tradition that my family observes, and I don't know how many other families do, but I know that people in that culture will. Today is Vegetarian Day, but following the Buddhist definition of vegetarian, it doesn't really fall under any of our like Western defined vegetarianisms.
True.
So it's really strange to explain to someone who's like never experienced it before. But essentially it's no meat. But seafood doesn't count as meat.
Yeah.
Eggs don't count as meat. They have a definition based on like if it has blood. So like if you think about it, you're like, okay, that's a definition you could go by. I could understand that. Buddhism is based on like nonviolence, so it's like, okay. But yeah, today is a day for no meat. But seafood is okay and eggs are okay. And they say that like starting off your new year by not harming another animal or another creature is supposed to bring you good luck as well. So
yeah, makes
things like
sense.
that. Mm.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. I'm happy.
Buddhist vegetarian food is so good.
It is.
It's
delicious.
so good.
Oh,
I actually need to
so
go have it
yummy.
more often. Like, there's a couple of restaurants in Calgary. They're not bad at all. Like, not surprisingly, you can't get it, so easily. It's kind of a rarity, shall we say? But it's nice.
They are artisans of tofu.
Indeed. Oh, and tofu done well is just my favorite.
People who, yeah. If people, I think we've had this conversation very recently where it's like, people don't like tofu in Western culture because people are like the marketing and the development was based around making tofu taste like something that it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Do you
Which
try
is
to
like-
make beef taste like chicken? No. Stop
Yeah.
making tofu try to taste like something else. Let tofu be tofu.
Be its own thing,
and I will
enjoy
tell you,
tofu
it's
100%.
for
so
tofu's sake.
good.
And
Oh.
once you have
100%.
an agadashi tofu or something, or like nice silken tofu in broth, like it's such a different experience than tofu that is like impersonating a different kind of food.
Tofu is a material I must have in hot pot now.
Oh,
Must.
so good. Yes.
In
Tofu
various
in hot
forms.
pot.
Tofu skin?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
100%
Yes.
tofu
That's the
skin.
good.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. But yeah, here's to a good start to a new year.
Indeed.
And I'm really looking forward to all the things that are going to happen this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I hope everyone listening gets to have a fantastic start. You know, we've just
Go
had
have some
the sort
dim
of
sum.
like Gregorian calendar New Year, so enjoy some lunar calendar
Oh,
New
Gregory.
Year as well. Good old Gregory.
Yeah. We have two types on Earth. If we're selling Earth culture to aliens, we have two types of counting time. One is by the moon. The other one is by a man named Gregory.
Yeah. Who loosely counted things sort of by the sun. So it's like, do you want to do moon time or sun time? Or both?
But
You
it's
can do
Gregory's
both.
time.
But it's Gregory.
Not gonna lie.
It's
and-
Gregory sun time.
Greg was a hack. Don't listen
Yeah.
to Greg.
And then a couple of other dudes.
He just took something from Julius and just like,
and
well,
Augustus.
what if I tweak this?
What if I twist this around a little bit? It's like almost sun time. Not quite. It's
and
close.
we messed
It's
it up
close.
because September was supposed to be the 7th month, but now it's the 9th month. And then October was
supposed to be the 8th month.
But it's the 10th month.
But we messed up. It's the 10th one. We forgot 2 months. We had to stick them in the middle.
Imagine having months literally named after numbers.
The number. Yeah.
And then screwing it all up. I blame Greg for this.
He was just
Greg.
like, he's like, I forgot to, so I just have to put them in here. My bad.
I'm sorry. Can I just put it right here?
I'm just
right
gonna put it
here.
right here. I know it's gonna mess up the counting, but like, just don't worry about it, okay?
Was Greg also, and I know I can just go Google this, but was Greg also comedically responsible for the biblically based counting system for the years?
Yes.
Probably.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
know.
he was, yes.
I think that came before the Gregorian calendar.
Oh.
I think that was
Okay,
part of the
yeah.
Julian calendar.
Was it?
Fairly certain.
I feel like it came from the Roman Catholics.
That's the Julian calendar.
Oh, so yes.
The,
Then it is biblically.
the Julian calendar is named after Julius Augustus Caesar.
Yeah, which I was like, that's Roman. So it's the Roman Catholic. So yes. So yes, it is it is a
And
biblical thing.
Basically, the only thing the Gregorian calendar fixed was leap years.
Yes. Yeah. So yes.
Today, Nancy has relearned a bunch of things about the calendar.
And that's why Jesus' birthday is in December.
And that's why Greg, while correct, is a hack. He just tweaked
Greg's
the
a
previous
butt.
calendar.
His
was like,
hot
"I'ma
fix.
just-
His hot fix
The
patch.
February hot
not
fix.
good. Not very good.
Yeah.
It's correct, but it's not enough to name it after him. Goddamn.
We should rename the months.
Yes.
We should.
Why
but
is
also,
that- why is that
it's,
important?
change
It's
is
not.
hard.
It is
Which
hard.
month gets to be called Bob?
March.
February.
February.
February. is-
February.
Yeah.
I still like January for the first month because of Janice.
Which one becomes Monthy McMonthface?
March.
November.
Oh.
March?
Why November?
November is a weird month.
But Nova.
I get that.
Anyways.
Nova for 9.
Anywho. Anywho.
Oh, I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart that I started following 6 years ago because I watched it in Boston Pizza of all places.
Why were you in a Boston Pizza?
You know what? It might have been more than 6 years ago because it's been a long time since I've been to a Boston Pizza. Otafest used to go to Boston Pizzas every now and then, not all the time, but like after meetings and stuff when we had in-person meetings, and we'd be like, oh, where's a place that can seat a bunch of people
On
like,
short notice.
Yeah, like there's
And
a few
is
Chinese
reasonably priced.
restaurants, there's some
You know
pho
what?
restaurants, and then like Boston
That's
Pizza and
fair.
Denny's. Yeah.
Every
And is
Boston
reasonably
Pizza
priced.
is always empty because it does not deserve customers.
No. But the one time that we went,
behind our particular wrath for Boston Pizza, but we'll
I
save that
don't
for
like
another
Boston
podcast.
Pizza. God forbid they ever become a sponsor. But I do remember.
True.
So there's one time we went in after a meeting, and sumo wrestling was on the TV, and I was like, sumo wrestling, I think as most people do who aren't into sumo wrestling is like, you kind of have that
A vague
stereotypical
concept of like, it's a
of,
bunch
like,
of
it's big fat dudes.
body dudes who are mostly naked and they push
Yep.
each other over and stuff.
Exactly. And while that is, not completely untrue, from watching it, I was like, this is pretty legit. And I found like channels, like sometimes on YouTube, there's even some on Twitch and stuff. And during the course of the year, so basically every 2 months, sumo wrestling holds a major tournament, and those tournaments help them rank up or rank down depending on how they perform. And a thing like a basho, which is the name of the tournament, takes 15 days in which every wrestler involved, as long as they're able to, they wrestle once a day. They have a match once a day, and they are trying to get the minimum of 8 wins, so like the majority over 15 days. Or if they get less than 8 wins, then they're going to be like downgraded for sure, which affects their pay and stuff. But I don't want to just explain all of it. I just want to say that it just ended, like the New Year's one, because they always sort of sumo wrestling is basically a martial art that just happens to sidle along like a lot of Shinto religion type stuff, and they make the first one, the New Year's Day tournament, end like on Lunar New Year essentially. So it's like a big deal, like it's very ceremonial. All the audience is like wearing like a bunch of yukatas and kimono, and like the big sumo tournament of the year to start the year is on. I super recommend it for anyone who wants to watch a sport that's not really a sport in the sense that it's mostly based off of, again, like the Shinto religion part, but it's something that is like, if you don't love combat sports like boxing, MMA, I totally get it. Try sumo because it's less violent. They're not trying to kill each other out there.
Yeah, like they're not trying to make each other bleed.
Yeah, and the cool thing is everyone has a ranking system, and I don't mean like the sumo wrestlers. I also mean like the judges and the presenters and like everyone in there has like fans of like, you can be a fan of like an announcer, you can be a fan of a judge. There's just a lot of like cool traditional religious stuff. And again, they're not trying to kill each other. So it's very like, it's much more palatable. Is that the word? Palatable?
Yeah, it's more of a meditative martial art than a violence.
Yeah. It's like, a very
but they're still very athletic. They're still very
athletic, but it's not about like hurting each other so much as it is using that athleticism to move another athletic person.
It's very deliberate. It's very, thoughtful, calculated. It's not like just a slamming of bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
although
not
it
like
can
their
also
bodies
be.
slamming each other into the ground.
But like
trying to like knock each other out.
And during like a big MMA fight night kind of thing, there's usually like maybe like 5 to 8 matches, and they'll be like, oh, it's the title bout or whatever. But that takes like 4 hours of just a lot of, build up. Exactly. For a sumo wrestle tournament, there's literally like, I don't know, I want to say like 50 or 60 matches. Like it's just going and going and going. The action never stops. You just got these cute men. They're actually really cute.
Yeah, they seem really adorable.
And they have like little pre-interviews in between where they always, because it's like very, again, traditional, they're not like all trying to be like super bravado, like, yeah, I'm gonna knock that guy's face.
I'm gonna knock that guy's up. I'm better.
When they do interviews, they're like, I'm just hoping to rank up, and I'm trying, and I hoped that I can impress my stable master and do real good for this year. And I'm like,
I want to improve the standing of our stable and contribute to the sport.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god, that's so wholesome and precious.
Super
my
recommend
wholesome
it
little
for
sumo
everybody.
babies.
Yeah, and then they got to do a little battle for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. And it's like, all right.
And you're like, cool, that was
Honestly.
awesome. And then we get to watch another one.
Yeah. And it's very impressive.
Wholesome.
Like the physical aspect is still very impressive.
Yeah. I would love to go watch one in person one day.
That's my
that would be so cool.
It would just be a very interesting cultural experience to actually watch it live.
They also have a gaijin cam during their tournament where like anytime they see anyone who's not like Asian,
very clearly like could be mistaken for a Japanese person.
Hey, look, like that person who's clearly not from Asia likes sumo, and they'll like focus the camera on them while they're just like eating chips and don't know that they're on camera.
Yes, that's me, immortalized on the camera for eating chips. F.
But it's super recommend. I don't know. I've never really wanted to expound on like a sport here being like, oh yeah, let's go watch football or something. Nah, sumo wrestling is the way to go. Look it up.
Neat.
I love it. Thank you for enlightening my life.
Indeed.
Cute men pushing each other.
New sports
in tradition
to investigate.
I need more wholesome sports, to be honest. I think a lot of the bravado stuff is what turned me off of watching sports as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like toxic culture around sort of just like it's too machismo most of the time, and then not to say that like sports need to be competitive, but you don't need to be a jerk about it.
Competitive and hurting each other.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
I think what happened there is that it's almost an injection of theater to create storylines and keep people interested.
Yeah, that's
Like-
true.
That's
Like Jay
called
was saying,
professional
when you've got-
Russian.
When you've got professional wrestling and even MMA, you might be watching for 2 hours and you might only see like 4-6 fights maybe.
Yeah.
And because they're creating drama out of nothing. They're creating a lot of like extra bullshit to pad it out and to try to get people like invested in it.
yeah.
That's how you have like the whole face and the villains in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whereas
yeah.
you wouldn't have that in
But
in
it's
sumo.
and it's also the the story of like the underdog versus like the seasoned, super skilled raid boss veteran.
In sumo, there's not really that like heel or face type kind of thing. They just legitimately don't like bad people in
Yeah.
sumo. Like if you have a controversy, and a controversy is things like fighting outside of like
Outside of
'cause,
events.
like having a drunk fight in a bar. There have been top ranked sumo wrestlers called yokozuna. There was one in the past 5 or 10 years where they were legit. They just like, no, we don't want like that kind of stuff. We don't want that kind of behavior to be in
So
our
you're
sport.
blacklisted from the
They
league.
literally just like asked them to retire. And, like, please actually leave. We don't want stupid
We don't
things.
want that. Yeah.
There's this one dude who during COVID, so all sumo wrestlers, for the most part, in up until you hit like super high ranks, most of the time you
Live
have to stay in
together.
they live together in a stable, not an actual stable. It's just called a stable in English.
Like a boarding
and-
house.
Exactly. And they train and eat and do everything there. But you're still allowed to have like a wife and stuff
Right,
and
like you can
relationships.
still
but
leave.
you
You're
just
not like
can't.
tied to it, but
Yeah,
your
but you
living
can't-
situation is where
Yeah.
you work. You live where you work.
99% of the time you're going to be in the stable. This one dude
Wow.
during COVID cheated on his wife. He snuck out from the stable over 20 times and cheated on his wife. Now he's not super high ranking it, but he is in the upper ranks. And
Yeah.
basically they're like, we don't like you. Do not mess up again. Like
They're like,
and
if you
this is
do
like
this
during
again, you're
COVID and
gonzo.
everything like that. Yeah, it's like, and he's like a decent wrestler too. Like he has good records most of the time.
Yeah.
But they
your
don't care. They
individual
don't-
accomplishments
You still need to
do
be a
not
good person.
do not trump, dishonoring yourself.
They'd
your
rather have
family,
a bad
your
wrestler
sport.
who is a good person than a bad wrestler, or than a good
A
wrestler,
good wrestler
who is a bad
who's a
person.
bad person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Which is, it's very interesting. It's a very unique culture to have around a sport.
They're very cute.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out. And then maybe report back next podcast on what I learned about sumo wrestling.
I think you'd like it just because you're still doing more study on Japanese, and a
Yeah.
lot of the broadcasts are still in Japanese. But you'll
Exactly.
still
Yeah.
you'll
So
get a lot of it. coming in.
Exactly. It'll be an opportunity for language study,
Exactly.
Yeah.
language learning.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my whole thing on sumo wrestling.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That
Thanks
was
for bringing
really
that
cool.
up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a good way to kind of wrap things up.
It's a whole 2 months till the next big one. I'm sad.
Soon.
Aw, but soon.
Soon.
Hopefully.
Soon.
2
You know what
months
else is
will
soon?
be here sooner than you expect.
Indeed.
Exactly.
And sooner than you expect will be next week's episode of the Otafest podcast.
Indeed. Bye, y'all.
Take care.